It's democracy. We'll just be stuck right there. It's so good. So we ended up with half of y'all would rather always take a cold shower, and the other half of y'all would rather sleep less than you need to be fully rested. So if I have to give up one, I have to give up the other. And it was half and half. Cool, cool. So today we have a quick conversation. You guys, thank you for, let me say thank you for participating. And yeah, you would get used to them, and supposedly they're healthy. And Odoge went with the Red X for sleep an hour less than you need to be really restful. You'd rather have a hot shower. Yeah, some of us are already sleeping. We're not getting enough. Yes, it does. Insomnia stinks to high heaven. Today we're going to discuss group behavior. We're going to analyze social structure and interaction within society. And when we start talking about group behavior, it's like when I'm talking about having more than one person. So my first question to you is, do you go along with the crowd, or are you a lone wolf? You can be one over the other, but you can't be both. Talk to me about it. One or the other. Or you can be both. It's cool. It depends on the crowd. I love that answer. What else? What else? Oh, doesn't it depend on the situation? Have you ever heard someone say, or your parent or someone who has authority, oh, if your friends jump off the roof, you're going to jump off the roof too? And then you have to stop to consider, well, it depends on what roof they were dropping off of. Yeah. What if you were the first one to jump? They'll be like, he's a bad influence. Who jumped off that roof first? And then everybody's like, we all did. Yeah, he's a leader. Mm-hmm. One time my son and my best friend's baby boy, oldest son, they were outside, and Elliot is my friend's son, and he swung a bat and clocked my son in the eye, right? And so I had to take him to the hospital because, man, he had a rapidly changing eye socket. It was going black with a quickness. And so let me get you to the hospital. I go up to the hospital, and they are like, well, what happened? And he doesn't want to tell them what happened because he doesn't want his friend to get in trouble. So he was really activating his group behavior because he had his who he was leaning towards as protecting. He had that part down. The part about it that was crazy was when he wouldn't say what had happened and how he got the black eye, they start looking at me like, did you give this baby a black eye? I was like, you better start talking to these people before your mama be in trouble. So sometimes our group or our affiliations to our groups can be a little bit off kilter. That's what I think. You respect his decision not to snitch. Yeah, but it wouldn't have been cool if I went to jail, because they start looking at me like, you hit that baby, you hit him. He's a little bitty thing too, probably about 8. Oh, it wasn't me. And I didn't expect them to have that because I can be real naive. I just thought, this boy's outside playing. They were not here. They were not having that. Hey, you guys, I always say, wait a minute, let me see. Why didn't he say we were playing? I think he didn't know what to say, so he got his shoulders up. He wasn't saying nothing. Protecting my group, my affiliates. Yeah, he's okay. He's old now. His eyeball is fine. It was just, yeah. He's just remind me when we start to talk about affiliation, and if somebody jumps off the roof, are you going to jump off the roof? Sometimes we do that because we're into that relationship. We're what you do, I do, you know, which is sometimes smart. And yeah, see, it happens. Practice, and he walked in too close. That's exactly what happened with them. That's exactly what happened. Yeah. So, hey, you know, my vision for you is that you emerge from GCA as a positive, influential leader in the 21st century. That you have a positive influence not only in your home and in your community, but in your world. Yeah. Yeah. He said he felt bad. Said all the brothers, it was about to go down in your story, Cal. Hey, thank you for arriving promptly at the scheduled time of the session. Chat box conversation should be focused on the content of the lesson. Please refrain from sharing your personal information. I'm glad you like them. And then be respectful and courteous towards one another at all times. You guys can send me memes that you think would be cool to put on a PowerPoint or one of our presentations. I definitely will use them. Okay, so let me talk to you for a minute. This is what we look like for this week. I'm not hosting class tomorrow, but we have our cultural project, and so we're going to work on that. And then this video is going to assist you with anything else that you need to do. So that's why I'm recording. We're going to have a good recording. You guys are going to talk a lot, ask a lot of questions, so that we have something to share. So I won't host class tomorrow, but that you'll see the cultural project. Let me just change to that slide. Cultural Norms Project is already posted. You guys have access to it. It is so easy, but I need you to get it done. And we're not doing our lab for Unit 4. We're going to do this Cultural Norms Project. So I substituted something out to put this in. Right. Okay, so cultural norms, there are norms that we have that everybody sees, and then there's those things that we Oh, you are. Good. So this is going to align you with that. Oh, good. This is what I want. You can do a video. You can do a PowerPoint. You can do Prezi. You can do whatever, but you're going to talk to me about 4 things. You're going to talk to me about laws. You're going to talk to me about taboos. I said that's so wrong. You're going to talk to me about, folkways and just mores, moral issues. Okay? Those are topics I want you to define, and then give me a visual that represents that thing that you're talking about. Everything is going to be classroom appropriate. Don't give me nothing crazy. Come on, Miss Alamine, I thought you said you wanted me to give you something on morals. Don't. I'm going to drop down to another one that's a little bit clearer. Let me drop to this one, and then we'll come back. I'm just going to run through to the end, and then we'll come back. Hold on. For some reason, I have a better shot of it at the end. This is it. Okay, can you see that? Cool. Okay, so, got you. Cool. Thank you for saying that. Now we all can see it a little better. I have to try to stretch out my leg a little bit. Okay, so we're going to create a multimedia presentation. It can be PowerPoint, it can be video, it can be Prezi, it can be emails about the characteristics of culture. You're looking specifically at norms. You can do it in 4 slides, or you can do it in a 10-minute, 5-minute video, as long as you cover everything and you have visual representation of what is expected. Like when you talk about folkways, you might have a picture of two people shaking hands, or two people, or a quick video of people dapping it up, you know, whatever. And then you're going to define the term, and then you're going to put it in your own words. That's all. For these 4 terms, and it's going to be, your visual representations are going to be classroom appropriate. Questions? So I'm not having you do the lab for this session. I'm having you do the cultural norms project. Then we have our project out of the way. Questions, questions? Our taboos, like counterculture, you have to go look it up and you can tell me. They're like counterculture or they are not like counterculture. However you decide after you kind of you research it a little bit. And of course, you know, if you go outside, and I'm not giving you any, I'm pointing at the screen. I'm not giving you any links or anything on this slide. So if you go get a resource to use to discuss it, then you're telling me what that resource is, where you got the information for. The 30th. And you know the due date, you have the 10 days after. So you have time. But I wanted to introduce it because you can start. Once you start, it's easy. Okay, that's all I have on that. Questions, comments? Okay, I'm going back to that slide. That doesn't work. And I'm going to talk to y'all. Let me make sure that's where I need to start. Okay, there we are. Let's go to what we're going to talk. We talk about groups and the influence of groups. You guys, it's in our assignments in Canvas. So you're just going to drop it into your Canvas assignment. Cool. Good questions. There's this guy named Solomon Asch, and in the 1950s, he invited college students to participate in a research project using cards similar to the cards above, which we don't see. He separated the students into groups of 6 to 8 people and told all but one student within the group that he wanted them to put pressure on the remaining individual. What did he want them to do? The group looked at the cards, and initially they all agreed on which lines that match, right? Simple enough. And as they looked at more cards, however, the others began choosing incorrectly, leaving one individual confused about what was going on and beginning to doubt his or her own judgment. Now, let me talk to you for a minute. Just tell me by a raise of, if you're in a group, it's just us in the room, you're in a group, and you know that 2 + 4 is 6, but everybody else says it's 4. Are you going to change your answer? I'm really asking y'all. Lewis says no, he's not changing his answer. 2 + 4 is 6. What, Alexis, are you going to change your answer or not? Oh, I love that. I love that response, not for that, but maybe for a complicated problem. Could you give me an example of like what hit your mind when you said that? Like, would you change, I don't know, what complicated, an example of a complicated problem, what would that be? because in this case, it's not complicated. Okay, math or science problems with definite answers. Okay, so in your mind, Lewis, you're saying, well, really, no, I wouldn't do it just for something simple. Okay, cool. How about to avoid embarrassment? How many of you would change an answer? Just give me, okay, yeah, I'll change my answer to avoid embarrassment. I'm going to clear our board. It's just us. I love saying that. Or, no, I'm going to stick to what I do to avoid embarrassment. I know I'm thinking this is what it is, but I don't want to be embarrassed. So give me a red X. I'm sticking to the answer even if everybody avoids me, or a green check. I'm going along with the crowd. I have a lot of heroes in here. And I have some, I'm going along with the crowd. I don't want to be embarrassed. Denasia. Oh, Denasia might not be able to hear me. How about you, Kalea? Which one are you going to do? Morgan, what about you? Are you going to go with, wait a minute. Are you going with the crowd, or are you, hold on a minute. You'd rather be embarrassed with a group? Okay. I love y'all's honesty. I'm just waiting to see what you'd rather stand on your own. You can't, child. We having tech problems today. That's why you can't move your mouse. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to play this video. You guys, please let me know if you can see and hear the video. You are going to have to click it yourselves to see it on your end. Okay. You got to click on your screen. So I want your opinion of this video when you finish. It examines behavior under the pressure of social forces as the experiment is solved. Experiment you'll be taking part in today.
Conformity drops by 2/3. Matches experiment is a classic. It reveals how people what they see and submit to group pressure. It allows us not only to observe but to study the conditions that
Okay, so okay, guys. So why do you think that we will? In some cases, you see him look around. The guy that said 2, he was like 2. He didn't even agree. But why did he go along with that? Is that to save face, you think? Ooh, he trusts the group's opinion. So many of them said one thing, so he didn't. Ooh, y'all are tearing him up. So many people said opposite of what he saw, so he just was like, okay, I must be wrong. He didn't trust his own opinion. And I love how you say human nature. We've learned that we are stronger as a group. So let me go along with the group. What about the people like, so one guy, he went along even though he like, they are so wrong, but I'm just going to go ahead with them, go along with them. What about the guy that went along, but he was like, I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't want to make waves. So I'm going to say the wrong answer as well. What do you think? Because that's where you come to the point that if your friends jump off the bridge, are you jumping off the bridge too? Going as this forces us to conform to the group. Yeah. Sometimes it's just not cool standing out. Go along to get along. Yeah. And it's just pressure. It's like, okay. What do you think was the difference between if I could just privately write my answer down, I became more truthful if I could just write it down and nobody knew what my answer was? Because they don't know what I answered. Why did that make a difference? Lewis is not the only one in here. Thank you. Neither is Kale. Yeah, protection. I like that. Do you think it would have been a different response if it would have been male and female in the room? Because y'all might not have noticed, but it was a room full of guys. I guess it's easier to be wrong in private. It's just like, yeah, I don't know why they saying that, because that's not right. I actually see 3. I'm not going to call it 2. Let me write my 3 down here. So there was some liberty and privacy that sexism or other isms come into play. Yeah, I'm wondering if that room would have been guys and girls. Would the tendency to answer wrong would have been the same, or would have it changed? That's interesting. I'm just waiting because I see some people typing and I don't want to run off while you're still. Okay, thank you. Do men listen or go along with women? I don't know if I was yeah, they listen. Men do. But I don't think I was saying it from that perspective. I'm just saying if the crowd dynamics would have been different. Well, you have a good point there. Good job, you guys. Let's go to the next. We're still talking about conformity and groups, but we're going to shift the conversation to how groups act. You want to conduct your own experiment? Well, I'll have to surprise you with it, or build an experiment and then we'll try it. How about that? It would have to be something outside of like lines in this experiment, but the same general gist. So we would get a random sampling of, yeah, sounds like a plan. Sounds like one to me too. So there's a couple of types of groups. The first one is a social group, just people getting together for the sake of getting together. They're considered a group because they interact with one another and they share similar norms, interests, and expectations about their interaction. So I'm in this group. It's the book club. We're reading chapter 4. When we all get back together, chapter 4 should be read. We're close. We have similar norms. And we kind of agree what the outcome is going to be. There are many social groups, and you probably come in contact with, including church congregation, the members of a particular class, a sports team, or your family. However, not every collection of people forms a group. Like, how about the football game is a group of people together in one place doing one thing. And if you have them if one person starts the wave, everybody will do the wave. Is that a group though? Okay, so Lewis says, no, that's not a group. What is it? What is that referred to as? Lewis is not the only one in here today, guys. I love all y'all's participation. I'm just looking at, yeah, we start looking at crowds. It definitely is a difference between, that's a good one. It's definitely a difference between a group and a crowd. Crowds don't usually have the same expectations about interaction. They don't have to have similar norms or interests, and they don't have to interact with one another. I can be in a crowd and never talk to the people that are also in the crowd with me, but that is not going to be what makes me part of this group or not. Thank you very much. Good job. Many social, okay. However, not every, okay. Examples are Fortune 500 companies, Americans. We're Americans. We're a group, but we may not always be. We don't have the same intentions. We don't have relationship. We don't have the same interests, but we're all called Americans. Okay, so I want you to look at this board, and I want to you to tell me what is similar about these people. And at some point, were they a group as well as a crowd, or were they ever either or? What are some similarities? Why are these people on a slide together? What do they have in common? They're all Jedis. What's a Jedi? Where does that term come from? Similar beliefs and values. Okay. Definitely. Fighting for the same cause. What cause is that? Where does this come from? The whole concept, where does it come from? Why do we even know about this? Star Wars, exactly. So there's places, because we all are in here and we have similar interests, but as a class we represent a group, but really we also can represent a crowd because we are interested in different things. We know different things, and we consider things differently. We're in here because the school said we need to be here and you're going to get a grade and I'm going to give you a grade. But when we start talking about Star Wars, we all know about that because we went to go see the movie. We had different interests. We went with different people. And we know generations later because someone put on, I seen Cult Classic come up on the board. Kale said that. That's a good way of referring to this. We know if somebody starts saying, well, what's your favorite line out of one of these movies? Many of us could come up with a line. Something pops directly into your head when it's said, but we represent a crowd of people that saw it. Not an individual, not a group. And we could break each one of these people down into separate things. Or these aren't even all people. A mob is probably a group still. A cult is probably a group too. But I'm sorry, a mob is a crowd And a cult is probably a crowd until people get into the intimate relationships and form a group. We have similar interests, we have similar beliefs, we have similar expectations of what the result is going to be. A group. Good job, you guys. I'm hanging out here too long. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so we have primary groups and we have secondary groups. So primary groups, they're small, they're intimate, they share personal, lasting relationships. There might be something that comes to your mind when we read this. Group members interact frequently with one another, and they show concern for one another, and they feel that they know each other well and are bonded together. These are the characteristics of a primary group. A secondary group is in contrast. They're bigger, they're larger, they're more impersonal. They undertake a goal or an activity. We're together because we're going to get a group. We're all helping each other get a grade. Secondary groups may only exist for a short period of time, and members usually don't have personal relationships with one another or strong personal relationships. Members of secondary groups define each other by what they can do for us or the group rather than by who they are personally. Are you part of an in-group or an out-group? That's the question. You guys, I had an in-group is one that members feel respected and they have a likeness with one another. There's something in common about us. Out-groups are those members who feel a sense of competition or dislike for. For example, many movies and television series feature social interactions and evaluations that happen between the nerds and the jocks in high school. Brown Eye, this video that we're going to close out with, and you guys just type your answers in, but this is our closeout video. I want you to look at this video and I want you to determine what is good, bad, or just your feelings about this video. Okay, let me start the video because we don't have time, and I will put the link on the board. Let me do the link. Oops, no, I can't do it like that. I thought I could grab it. Hold on. You're clicking to start this video right now. You're going to type me a response in the chat box about the video. We're going to close out with your responses about this video as it goes on. Okay? Okay, I'm going to start it for the recording.
Jane Elliott is an ex-school teacher who now runs workshops on racism.
And then I'm gonna
what they're really
put it
about,
in the chat
though,
box.
is how tempting power can be and how tempting it can be to abuse it.
When I do this workshop, I see the worst of people. I see their willingness to go along to get along. And I also see people who enjoy being on the top. You people get in here and sign in now.
These 24 volunteers don't know it yet, but within the hour, Jane will have turned them against each other. Half of them will be made subordinates, and the other half her allies. She starts by dividing them into two groups according to eye color. Blue-eyed people like this man are made to wear collars.
Now take all your junk and go over there until somebody takes you where you belong.
And sent to a locked holding room. Those with brown eyes are treated like old friends. The blue-eyed group are kept under guard. The brown eyes are encouraged to live it up a bit. The blue eyes are made to wait, while the brown eyes are converted into Jane's partners in crime.
You people are all brown-eyed. That means you are superior to these people who are not brown-eyed. I expected them to change, and I told them in what ways I expected them to change. And they went along with that. It's seduction. Who's going to force them to fail? We are. I'm glad you didn't say you are. I'm glad you said we are, because we are going to force them to fail. And then, on whom are we going to blame their failure? Them. And very quickly, these fine, upstanding, liberal white folks and people of color decided that they would rather be with the power structure than outside the power structure. They would rather be powerful than powerless.
So when the Blue Eyes are finally let in for a series of demeaning and pointless reading and writing exercises, during which Jane will browbeat and ridicule them, what will the Brown Eyes do? Will they behave abusively and without compassion just because they've been told they can?
Get up here and sit down on the floor.
There's no chair there.
There's no chair at the front.
What's going to sit on the floor? Did you what you said?
Get up here and sit on the floor like I told you to. This looks like Lulu, but you can't tell. What? What do you
Yes, Carmen.
What's the first name on this paper? Louise? Does this say Louise?
I switched between.
I think I was putting the blue-eyed people down because we've been coerced, in a sense, into believing that we were supposed to be working as a group, holding the power, and to be intimidated. So that's really what I was trying to do, and maybe part of it was because I was enjoying it a little bit.
Next.
If I have but one life, let me live it as a Brown.
Did I do that before?
You speak my clearly.
Yes, sir, did some. But the first person who read that one, please stand. Now, do you really think it bears repeating?
Listen,
Which sign did she read?
the one I just read.
The one you just read. Do you really think I wanted you to repeat it?
No.
Then stand up and read the sign you're supposed to read.
Blue eyes make good secretaries.
Would that one make a good secretary? How would you like to have him making notes? Might that be rather interesting? Okay. Next.
I felt aroused, man. It was this rush, like to have the power. So you sit down, you do what I tell you to do.
Now, what's the next sound in quiet? I. How do you spell I?
Spell on.
Yeah, how do you spell I in the word quiet? I. Do it. Say it as you do it.
I.
What's the... Why are you putting a capital I in the middle of this word?
I'm silent. Why?
I. When you say it as you capitalize it, how the hell sick are you? Now, erase that I.
In the end, the Blue Eyes have their say.
I was angry about all the comments that were coming flying over, and I wanted to strike back. I wanted to get up there and give to them as good as I'd got from them.
Yes, it's called the desire to get even, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, you were feeling like you wanted to turn the tables,
Absolutely.
so it was your turn.
Absolutely.
I just wanted it myself because I didn't stand up for what I knew was right. And I was also disappointed in my fellow Blue Eyes because when you were attacking them, they let you attack them.
Common sense tells you that the colour of your eyes doesn't determine your intelligence, but when people constantly pull you down and just demean everything that you say, you start to feel bad about yourself. Your confidence just goes out the window.
Mahatma Gandhi said, civilization is the encouragement of differences. I'd like for us to live in a civilized world where it's not only all right to be different, it's a wonderful thing to be different.
Hey, y'all, we're over. My one question is, should we allow people to group us? Should we allow ourselves to be placed in those types of groups where there's somebody that's going to get, should we allow it? Even when they said, we come into the agreement with the brown eyes and the blue eyes, should we have even came into agreement with that? And I know our session is over. Yeah, even sometimes when we don't want to, we separate ourselves or we consider ourselves part of a group. Kale, I agree. We don't even process it. You guys have a great day. I appreciate your time. Bye-bye.